Hello and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on CavanTV.com.
Tonight's show is dedicated to the memory of Jerry Pritchard from the Kilshamrocks Club and Michael Crine from the Butler's Bridge Club, who passed away during the week.
On tonight's show, we will be taking a look back at St Pat's brilliant win over St Unions in the quarter-final of the McCrory Cup, and also discussing all things GAA from around the county. So Damien, you were at the St Pat's game, the quarter-final against St Unions in Errigal on Saturday. A great win by all accounts, a very convincing win as well.
Very convincing, very comfortable in fairness to them. St Pat's had their homework done. Credit to the management team, Shane Fitzpatrick, Finn Riley and Father Kevin Fay. I think it's Shane Fitzpatrick anyway. They had so much homework done. They knew exactly what St Unions were going to come out and do. St Unions came out and done it, and St Pat's had the game plan worked out to counteract them. But you know, there was some excellent moves, excellent game of football, I have to say, from a Cavan point of view, to watch them, how they managed to deal with what has kind of become your typical Donegal team now, with huge numbers behind the ball. The difference was the St Pat's team ran hard, straight lines, you know, and they were patient in the build-up, waiting for the right opportunity. When they turned over the ball in their own defence, St Pat's, they tried to break fast. But if they didn't get it up the field, if there wasn't the right option, they were patient. They went over and back across the field, took their time, waited for the runs off the shoulder, and then some big runs by Brendan Argue, Thomas Galligan, Pierce Smith, excellent, Ben Connery. There were too many to mention, but they ran hard straight lines to break a tackle, break a second tackle, and then have a runner off the shoulder. So it was almost like you've described in the past of games of rugby, where they'd come, second phase would come back up, and somebody would be off the shoulder at pace, and it was nearly a sidewards ball, but it was being carried forward. So it was absolutely brilliant.
And not only that, but they put up a score 2-15 against the Donegal side. And St Unions, like, it was 2-15 to 7 points.
Yeah.
And like, to put up that kind of a scoreline against the Donegal team with a Donegal tactic of defending and whatever, that's massive scoring as well.
Absolutely huge. And if you look at the other McCrory Cup games, McCrory Cup quarterfinals are traditionally a very low scoring game, because it's teams who generally at that stage, I think out of the 8 teams, 6 of them won't have played a game in maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
So they're generally cautious, they're taking their time on the ball, they're very much organised about defence, and then they open up a little bit further as it goes in. But St Pat's Cavan came out, hit the ground running, and, you know, absolutely phenomenal performance.
You mentioned a couple of names there, Ben Connery and Thomas Galligan. They were involved last year as well, weren't they?
Yeah, like, I think I made it off the starting, we'll say from 8 to 15. Of those starting players, only one of them was underage for minor, and that was Thomas Edward Donohoe. Right. The rest of them were overage for minor this year. So they were involved in county minor squads last year, McCrory team last year, that very narrowly lost to St Pat's Mahara, who went on to the Hogan Cup final after winning the McCrory. So there was a lot of experience in it. Like Cian McManus there at centre half back, he was centre back last year. You know, a huge player. He's from Timor there in. He's actually from Ballyconnell, but he plays with Timor. But a wonderful footballer, very comfortable on the ball, and a real leader in that team. He pushes lads forward, he tells them when to go, he pulls all the strings. So excellent. But young Thomas Edward Donohoe, this boy's one to watch. He scored, I think, 1-4, and 2 of them were frees. The goal, which we'll see later on, was an absolute cracker. Cracker. But we have highlights coming up from that game on the show in a couple of minutes, if they're ready back in the other room. There was a buzzing in my ear there that was just too loud. But yeah, so St Pat's now march on to the semi-final, where they'll take on either Oma CBS or Abbey from Newry.
And they'll be hoping to go one further than they did last year. Well, with all the experience that they have in the team, there's no reason why they can't.
I would say they'll be hoping to go more than one further. These boys are focused on trying to win this thing out this year. You know, it's been a long time. 1972, I think, was the last time St Pat's Cavan won it. But these lads have put in more of an effort, from what I've been told. If what I've been told they've been doing it's more of an effort than most county teams will be doing. These are
just as you mentioned, there's none of the from 8 to 15. There's only one that's underage for minor. Does that mean that some of these lads have gone in and done transition an extra year, or is that why they're not underage for minor?
Yeah, I think so. From now, either they were late getting into school, they've done a transition year, or they're repeating a leaving cert. It's one of the three. Now, I'm sure each case is different, but they're it's very rare for St. Pat's to have so many lads overage from minor available from McCrory.
And it's one of the things that in Ulster that usually goes against, we'll say, the southern teams.
Exactly.
Is because the GCSEs up the north
are year 6.
Are year 6, so they're usually 19 years of age.
That's exactly.
And the lads that are playing for the colleges in Cavan are usually 17, 18 at the most.
That's exactly it. So it is a big advantage. So we have actually the highlights from the McCrory Cup quarter final, which took place in Errigal Kieran. It's actually called Cardinal McCrory Park in Errigal Kieran, and it's a wonderful, wonderful setup there. The home, of course, of Peter Canavan and Mickey Hart, Davy Hart, Enda McGinley, loads of wonderful footballers. So we might just go to that clip now. This is the first goal. Thomas Galligan after Matty McKenna put him through. Nice hand pass, but great move all the way, sweeping up the field. But look at that for a lad that, well, I know he's probably touching 19, but
Thomas Galligan, did he play full forward for them last year?
He was midfield, but then dropped in. That's Dara Kennedy. Great layoff there to Brendan Argue, brother of Michael Argue. To me now, there should have been a yellow card on that one, because after he released the ball, he was shouldered in the back. But this was St. Eunan's first score. It was 1-3 to no score at this point when they got their first score in. A fine score, in fairness, too. And I think it was Luke Fortune there coming out that was marking. He was their key player. I think he was O'Donnell, but he was probably their best footballer, the centre half forward. This was another good score there. That's John Joe McGovern was number 7. A very good footballer there, but he's one of the younger players, I think, on the team. But St. Eunan's didn't change their style, even though they were losing by, at one stage I think 10 points. They never changed their style at all.
There's no plan B.
No, this is good score there. That's one of Thomas Edwards on his right foot.
Fine footballer.
I think it was Thomas, or maybe that was Dara Kennedy. This is Argue again, coming running through. I think this is the goal. Ben Connerty off. Oh no, this was a goal chance by Keane McManus. He just drives it over the bar, but that was a definite goal chance. And again, it was typical of the Cavan running straight lines, and every time that they hit a tackle, there was somebody off the shoulder that could lay it off. But this was one of the rare times when this wing half forward just ran right through the heart of the St. Pat's defence. Now he only got to do that once, but he was it was just something that was kind of worrying, I'd say, from a St. Pat's point of view, that he was allowed to run right through. But this is the goal chance, I think. No, not either. This is Pierce Smith on the left foot. Actually, the goal chance is in the second clip here, but that was one of the better scores. Pierce Smith had a phenomenal game. He covered every blade of grass. He probably ended up with man of the match there, but that was actually the first score of the game. That's Brian Shannon opening the score.
The highlights for
I'm not sure actually who got them, but we're back now. We're looping out so we can come back. We've seen this already. So that was the highlights from the game. We'll actually bring you the second goal.
Are we ready to go?
Thomas Edward Donohoe, in a minute.
All right, the goal, we have to talk about it. It wasn't shown obviously in those highlights there.
It deserves a whole category of its own.
It deserves to be spoken about. It deserves a little area of its own, a little feature. It could be part of the credits from now on, because it's a wonderful strike.
Absolutely brilliant. But the build-up was quite good to it, in fairness. Again, it was that straight line running. They had worked the ball from left to right. They used full width on the field, in fairness to Dara Kennedy and John Joe McGovern. When they were coming up to join the attack, they were hugging the sideline, and it meant that all the time St. Eunan's, they couldn't just be looking where the ball was. They had to be watching, keeping an eye wide on the sideline, which makes it harder to defend. And so the ball had gone from left to right a couple of times, and then there was that Pearson run coming through the middle. Thomas Edward, as you'll see from the video, which is ready to go now in a second, just cut across with his left foot.
Don't say anymore.
We'll
let them see it.
We'll let them see it.
This is it. It is a fine goal. Lovely little pass there. Onto his left.
Some finish.
I can watch that over and over again.
I think we will. We'll let that loop and watch it a second time because actually I'm wrong about the build-up. One of the things St. Pat's done very, very well was they targeted St. Eunan's kickouts and they got great return from them. They really made them go long with the kickouts.
It's wonderful.
But like look where Thomas Galligan ended up after the shot. Had Thomas Edward Donohoe not been able to take the shot away, there was an option there. There was runners coming off the shoulder. So phenomenal goal. But St. Eunan's in their previous game, I think it was St. Pat's Armagh, they bet, and it went to a replay, I think, or definitely went to extra time anyway. But they went very short with their kickouts, and they won, I think, a very high percentage of their kickouts in that game. So St. Pat's had targeted and said, we're going to push up, and you could hear the management on the sideline, push up, and they did, and they were very quick to push up. And bar maybe a 5-10 minute spell at the start of the game when St. Eunan's got some good return from their kickouts, St. Pat's just dominated them, and it ended up to the point where the St. Eunan's goalkeeper had to kick the ball long. He had no option, and Brendan Argy dominated.
But it's something that they wouldn't practice as well. They spend so much, when you look at Donegal tactics, they spend so much time on the short kick out. They really do. That I'd say that it's the opposite to what traditionally would have been done, whereas you spend loads of time on your long kick out, and then you might take the odd short kick out during the game. But it's come full circle for them. And so, when they had to kick it long, I'm sure it was something that they weren't used to.
Oh, completely uncomfortable. Like they didn't realise they couldn't handle it because they hadn't been fighting for ball in the middle of the field in their whole McCormick Cup campaign and the first game they had in the McGrory Cup. So it was alien to them, and you could see they weren't able to. Now, it also has to be said that they had 3 players missing, 2 were suspended from their first McGrory Cup game, and 1 through injury, who were all key players. But you can't take away from St. Pat's. They were thoroughly deserved of their victory, and I'll tell you, there'll be no team will be looking forward to playing St. Pat's after that.
No, and just as St. Pat's are doing so well again, and it's great that the colleges, the schools are starting to do really well in Cavan. It's something that we emphasised last year. Is it the fruit of their labours that's coming through now? Like all the work that they've put in at coaching levels, at underage, at schools levels, is that what's happening now, Damien?
Without a doubt. Like the effort has gone into not just St. Pat's, all the schools,
like Virginia, St. Clair's and
Ballyjim stuff and Ballyburn, and exactly. Like the effort that teachers are putting in there, first and foremost, is huge. Now, this year, the effort, last year there was the debate obviously about the county board and them putting in so much effort in St. Pat's, and was it fair on the other schools. This year the county board aren't putting in the same effort into St. Pat's. I know, for example, Fimber Riley there, most of the coaching he does with that McGrory team is outside of his work hours. It's extra work for him, he does it on his own behalf. So, that's a credit to Fimber Riley, and I know that the other coaches are doing the same, down through from Andy McGovern, I think Sean Doherty, Aidan McCabe, who we had last week. They're not just doing their 40 hours a week with the county board, they're going out and they're helping other teams, and that's a credit to them. But they're in a job that they love doing, and they really, I think it's down to that team of coaches, really. I think that they're rising the standard across the board, because there are certain restrictions on development squads that you can only train a certain amount of times a year, and therefore it leaves the schools more important than they've ever been, because there's no restrictions on the amount of training you can do with a school team. And if we can get all the schools competing at the highest level possible and winning on a regular basis, then development squads nearly become irrelevant to us. It's good to get them, that you're pulling the players from the schools in together, but they have the training work done. They're learning in St. Pat's how to look after themselves, the right diet, the right hydration, the right strength and conditioning work. They're learning all these things in the schools, and then they can bring it forward into the county setup, and we're seeing the fruits of it. Like, I know we had one minor success, which was wonderful a few years back, but we're good enough to win another, and we are at the point in Cavan that we should be winning more and should be competing more regularly at minor championship and in Ulster finals, in All Ireland quarterfinals. You know, we really should be pushing on. So hopefully we get the
drive for 5 as well as on. You know?
Well, that's it. That's the under-21s, and like you'll see the standard. In fairness of the under-21s, I was just thinking this year, like all those lads that are over age from minor. I think there might be only 1 or 2 of them on the under-21 panel, and these are phenomenal footballers. Like these, I'd say 10 years ago, every one of them would have been on a county under-21 team when they were playing as well as they are there. You know, so it's a credit to the lads who are keeping them out of a team.
Exactly, and not only that, but it shows you what we have coming in the next 2 or 3 years at under-21 level as well. Like,
yeah, we do.
The drive for 5, we could be knocking on the door for 6, or you know.
You're like Roy Keane. Why stop at 5? Why not go for 7 or 8 or 9? But we're going to go to a break now in a minute. So if Brian is lined up with the ad break, we'll so that takes us to the end of part 1. But stay tuned for part 2, where we'll be discussing the Cavan ladies and the upcoming Breffni League. So join us after the break.
So welcome back to our new studio in the Cavan Crystal Hotel. We didn't speak about it much last week, so we didn't.
No.
Delighted to be back for 2015.
We are indeed.
You know, and in the new set.
Which I think, well, we got a lot of comments. People are delighted.
Yeah.
We have the Wall of Fame and we've the Cabinet of Fame.
Yeah.
There's every celebrity that ever donned. Well, sorry, in recent years that donned Cavan jerseys.
No, not in recent years.
In recent years, yeah, they're all there.
There's no picture of me there.
That's what I say. In recent years, they're all there.
And then also, we just want to thank a viewer. We don't know who it is, but one of the viewers sent us in a Valentine's card to all the gang at Cavan TV, and especially the boys on Gaelic Football Views.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roses are red. No, it doesn't say roses are red.
I just want to thank my mammy for sending that one in.
Well, my mammies mustn't arrive then. But yeah, we just want to, it made us feel special because we are special.
Indeed.
And look, we've a new feature on the show as well, where we're going to be profiling a few players from the ladies team each week, the Cavan ladies football team that is. And to start off this week, we have.
Laura Fitzpatrick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Laura, as you can see on the screen there, is 22. Well, you can't see that on the screen, but you can tell that she's 22.
I would have said she was 19 now, to be honest with you.
She plays with the St Finbarr's Club. She's a defender. Her occupation is a primary school teacher, Mickey.
It is indeed. Her inter-county debut came against Tipperary in 2012. Her most memorable sporting moment was winning the All-Ireland Intermediate Final with Cavan. We were there that day to celebrate it in 2013.
That's right. And that was the homecoming, obviously.
Yep.
And her hobbies are football, swimming and music.
Her favourite film is Ted or Fault in Our Stars. I've never heard that one before. The last song that she downloaded was Mark Ronson featuring Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk.
I can't blame her. I love that song.
It is a great song, I have to say.
It's, as Sean McCaffrey says, it's a serial spiller.
It's a serial spiller.
Her hardest opponent was Louise Murrahurtig against Kerry in the league in 2012. Her sporting ambition is to play Division 1 football for Cavan ladies and win a senior championship medal. These go down on the two lines. It's a senior championship medal with her county, her county, and win a club intermediate title.
She wants to continue to play and make a lifelong friends. Her sponsor on the Cavan ladies football team is Eric Trenier from Agri Contractor, and he's from Lisbaduf, Cotillion, County Cavan.
He is indeed. The second player that we have now is Donna English. Donna English is 25, or so she says.
Yeah.
So she says. I don't know. Don't trust her. I think she's only telling that so that she gets into the Imperial. Her club is Arva Kilishandra. Her position is midfield, and her occupation again is a teacher.
There's a lot of teachers.
There is
on this team. Her inter-county,
I won't say why.
Her inter-county debut came in the National Football League versus Louth in 2007. Her most memorable sporting moment was co-captaining Cavan to the Intermediate All-Ireland in 2013. Her hobbies are all sports and reading.
Yeah, her favourite film at the minute is Gone Girl. The last song she downloaded is Para for Kuva featuring Anna Naklab. Wicked Games, never heard of her. She's only 17. She has to be only 17 because if that was popular with my age group or 25-year-old, I'd know about it.
With 25-year-olds, how do you know?
I hear
35-year-olds.
Maybe 35-year-olds, you're probably right. Her hardest opponent, the old cliche is the next one.
Yes. Her sporting ambitions for 2015, her goals are clear. Win a Division 2 National Football League and win a Senior Ulster Championship title with Cavan. And her sponsor is Hall Transport of Crott, County Longford. And I have to say, her ambitions for 2015, as she says, they're quite clear and they're pretty good as well.
Yeah, and they're quite achievable, I would say.
Exactly.
Which is great, and hopefully she goes on to achieve them. Our third player, of course, is the captain of the Cavan Ladies Senior Football Team for 2015, Grania Midlade. She's 23. Her club is Ahawillan in the county of Leitrim. That's because of family connections, as we all know from the Mary Quinn Memorial. Her position is a back or a defender. Her occupation is supply chain management trainee.
Her inter-county debut came in the National Football League in 2008. We don't know who that was against though.
No.
Most memorable sporting moment was lifting her grandmother's cup, the Intermediate All-Ireland Cup final in Crow Park. That was her, as you said already, it was her granny. Her hobbies are basketball and football, obviously. And her favourite film is Love Actually. Damien, do you want to come in there? No,
I love that film. I've no
is
complaints.
That your favourite film?
No, it's not my favourite film, but I definitely think it's one of my. It's probably my favourite Christmas film.
Your favourite Christmas film?
Yeah, I definitely love that film. I think it's very good. Yeah, definitely.
The
last song she downloaded was Taylor Swift, Blank Spaces.
You know that one?
No, actually, but I've heard of Taylor Swift. She's one of these young happening ones. Her hardest opponent was Aisling Doonan. Her sporting ambition is to win the National Football League Division 2 and win the Senior Ulster title. We think we've heard that before.
We have indeed.
And her sponsor is Brian Midlade Tyres, Arva, County Cavan.
Very good. And something we must mention as well, it's brilliant that the ladies football team have taken on board what the senior footballers did last year, which is to get sponsors for each player.
That's it.
And it's wonderful that like every player has been sponsored. So the next player anyway up is Rachel Jordan, and she's 24. She's from the Lavy Club.
Indeed.
It's a famous name out there, the Jordans obviously. Her position is a back and her occupation is, guess what? A teacher.
Yeah, her inter-county debut was in 2007 for the senior ladies. Her most memorable sporting moment was playing and winning the Intermediate All-Ireland in Crow Park in 2013. And her hobbies are sport and reading.
All these teachers love reading, don't they?
They do.
Her favourite film is The Shawshank Redemption. I love that. I didn't get a hard one, so I didn't. The last song that she downloaded was, good luck. The Alcatel doesn't allow me to download music. Oh right, that's brilliant. That must be your type of phone or something. And her hardest opponent was Donna English. Her sporting ambitions this year is to win the Division 2 league with Cavan and Lavi. Lavi must be in the Division 2 league as well.
That would imply it.
Yeah. And her sponsor is the Sports Shop Main Street in Cavan. Fair play to Eamon and the Sports Shop.
Yeah, it is. So that's fair play to Eamon and all the staff in the Sports Shop for sponsoring. Our 5th player now, I think it is Mona Cherdon. Mona is 23 and she's from Mullahorn. Her position is wing back or wing forward. Her occupation, again, guess what it is, Mickey?
Teacher?
Oh, well done. Surprise, surprise. Inter-county debut was in 2008. Her most memorable sporting moment was winning the Intermediate All-Ireland in 2013 with her dad as joint manager and scoring a point in Croke Park that day.
She never scores.
Never scores.
She never
scores. That's what brackets is. Okay.
Her hobbies are obviously Gaelic football, playing Irish music and socialising. Her favourite film is Dirty Dancing. Last song that she downloaded was Martin Garrix's Virus. Craig, do you know what that song is, do you? I wouldn't have a clue what that one is. And her hardest opponent is obviously the next one.
It is indeed. Her sporting ambition is to be successful at senior level with both club and county, to train and play to the best of her ability, to be a role model for the up-and-coming future talents of Cavan ladies Gaelic football.
Like that one.
And her sponsor is DR Motors, Carrigallen, County Leitrim. So thank you very much, DR Motors in Carrigallen, for sponsoring another good Cavan ladies footballer.
Yeah, and last up this week, we'll be doing this again next week, is Geraldine Cherdon, and she's 21. She's from the Mullahorn Club. I think she might be a sister of Mona's.
Different colour hair, but I do think they are from the same family.
I love the way you look. They have different coloured hair, but I'm not sure. I think they're still from the same family.
I think so.
You know your sister has different coloured hair to you.
I know, yeah, but then we're male and female, surely.
Anyway, her position is she plays a forward, and her occupation is she's a student, probably going on to be a teacher, I'd say. Her inter-county debut came in 2012, and her most memorable sporting moment was winning the Lagan Cup and Intermediate All-Ireland in 2013. That was brilliant.
It was. Her hobbies are Irish music and sleeping. Her favourite film is The Heat. The last song she downloaded was Angel of Small Debt, Hosier.
Yeah, by Hosier, yeah.
Very good, very good. Her hardest opponent is the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Her sporting ambition is to be successful at both senior, county football and club football. Her sponsor is Grouse Hall Furniture in Lockduff, County Cavan. So thanks to all out in Grouse Hall Furniture.
Absolutely.
You'll catch Grouse Hall Furniture halfway between Ballinyan and Granard. You can't miss it. If you're going to Mullahorn football pitch, you can't miss it.
Well, you can't.
It's painted in the Mullahorn Club colours.
It is, but apart from that, you're driving through the middle of the country and there's this big, massive warehouse.
With a blue top with yellow trimming on the outside, so you can't miss it. So call into Grouse Hall Furniture. And all the sponsors who looked after the Cavan ladies, thanks very much for that. It's much appreciated, because I'm sure all the management and the players would say without their help, without the financial backing, they wouldn't be able to prepare as well as they have done so far.
Yeah, and tune in next week for the next 6 players that we'll be profiling, and we'll be doing that in the upcoming weeks. We'll probably be doing it for 5 weeks till we get through the full squad of players and all their sponsors as well. So
indeed. So next up for Cavan ladies is a trip to near neighbours Westmeath, and that's in the Tesco Homegrown National Football League. This game will be played this coming Sunday at 2 p.m. in Kinnegad. So remember to get on to Twitter, hit the hashtag there, Believe in Blue. It's a great tagline, and it's wonderful for the Cavan ladies to have a hashtag of their own. So Believe in Blue, is that it? You can see it on the board if we can get that other camera going.
This is the board.
This is the tactics board of Gaelic Football Views. It is coming up. It's coming up. We just can't quite see it now. But anyway, you can see the corner of it there.
Yeah.
So the Drive for 5 is on.
St. Joe's for Ulster.
Yeah, that's all you can see. We'll try and bring you the full board next week if we can at all.
It's probably more interesting than us anyway.
It is. It definitely is.
So that brings us on to the start of the club season in Cavan, where this weekend sees the Breffni League kick off the 2015 club senior and junior season. Damien, you know, a lot has been said about the Breffni League last year and whatever, people for, against it and whatever. It's back for a second year, and judging by all the clubs last year who didn't take it serious last year, towards the end of the league when we saw the likes of Cornafane, Ballyhaise, you know, and Killincare going on to win these. People started, and they all went well in their championship after that.
Yeah.
So
like you look at the 4 winners of the Breffni League last year were Castlerahan, Ballyhaise, Killincare, and Cornafane. Cornafane junior semi-finalists, unlucky. Well, it's a very close game to the event, to lose against the eventual winners, Arva. Killincare, very close semi-final against Cootehill in the intermediate championship, who Cootehill went on and won the final quite convincingly against Ballyhaise, who made the intermediate final. Granted, had a bad day in the final, but still got there.
And won the Breffni League Division 1A.
That's what I'm saying, the Breffni League winners. So they all done well in the championship. And then the Division 1 winners, Castlerahan, probably a little bit unlucky in the championship. They had a lot of injuries and missing a lot, but were still competitive in the senior championship and could have gone on and caused an upset and won it. So
Mullahoran in that game, that famous game last year in Breffni Park where the lights went out and whatever, you know.
Well, they had their chances too, and you know, it just goes to show there is a benefit to winning games, regardless of whether it be challenge matches, whether it be Breffni League, whether it be All County Football League. There's a benefit to getting in the winning habit, and all those clubs benefited from those winning habits. And I would say we'll see a different emphasis on the Breffni League this year.
There'll be different emphasis. You'll see clubs taking it a little bit more serious.
Yeah, they will. Now
there's still blood players and whatever.
Oh, exactly.
But that's what you want.
But it won't be a case where they'll throw games or they'll say, "Oh, feck it, sure, we'll just put out a junior team here." They'll go out to win every game, you know, and that's going to be.
And they might go out and actually play the games instead of boycotting the games this year.
This is true. This is very true. So look at the round 1 of Division 1A sees Ballina take on Cavan GAA, a repeat of the 2013 county final.
And then you'll see Castlerahan also playing against Kingscourt, the same in round 1.
Yeah, you have Lacken taking on Cootehill. Of course, Cootehill, who are recently promoted from 1B, so this is their first dip into senior football.
Yeah, and Rammer United taking on Ballyhaise. Ballyhaise also the winners of last year's Division 1B.
Exactly.
The Breffni League also.
They got promoted in the All County Football League. That's how they're playing up there. And of course, Lavey are taking on Mullahoran. So the first team name there is obviously at home. Just quite interesting. We'll run through just very quickly. I see Ballyhaise still have no manager. A week, or less than a week away from their first competitive game, and still haven't got a manager out there. It's probably a worrying time there. It'll be interesting to see. I'm just looking down through the management there.
Take it.
No, I've enough on my plate at the minute.
It's closer than Killing
No, I'm happy enough where I am. Thanks very much. Second. Ballina have Bernard Morris. Kieran, what's his name, is over Cavan GAA. Kieran Donnelly. Castlerahan, I've heard it's Michael Riley, who was over Killincare last year, and Niall Lynch is still with Kingscourt, from what I'm told. Lacken have, is it Declan Rowley? Did I hear that? He's they have a Longford man anyway. I think it's Declan Rowley. Cootehill, Kieran O'Malley is obviously staying on after a wonderful job. Lavey, I think, have a new manager, but I'm not 100% sure there. Mullahoran, Jerry Cadden is over them.
Newly in the job this year?
Yeah, he was over Lacken last year.
That's right, yeah.
And Ramor have, Gary Farrell is still there, but they have the addition of Michael McDermott, who was originally from Cavan, moved to Clare, and I think managed them to a minor All-Ireland or a minor Munster title. Something he had success down with an underage team in Clare. Right. So a wonderful addition to their management team.
Ballyhaise, who you're after mentioning,
still on the lookout.
Still on the look.
CVs can be sent to Ballyhaise manager's job.
To Susan Brady.
At Ballyhaise Post Office.
Love us for that.
She's going to burn us for that, so she is.
So the Breffni League Division 1B 2015 round 1 sees Drumlane taking on Red Hills. Red Hills under new management this year of Michael Riley.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Red Hills have the same manager, I think. Or sorry, Drumlane have the same manager. I think Ollie Fay is still over them this coming year. GAA have a new manager. I just can't think who it is now. I was told.
And they're playing Drumgoon.
Drumgoon sorted out. They have a manager. It's I can't think of his name, but he was over Ballybay last year.
Right.
So Drumgoon have found a new manager there. Arva have a new manager as well. Again, he's an ex-Longford senior footballer.
After Kieran Brady doing such a great job with them.
Yeah, and Kieran Brady's gone the other way. He's gone to Longford. He's back with Columkill in Longford.
Okay.
Killishandra.
Arva taking on Killishandra.
That'll be a good game. That'll be worth watching. Sorry, for the simple reason that they know each other inside out. I would actually be surprised that game goes ahead
With St. Joe's.
with St. Joe's in the Ulster final, which we'll come to later on. But Killishandra, I don't know if they have a manager got as yet. I think they have, but I can't think. Killigarry are taking on Crushala.
Yes, they are indeed.
Killigarry have a new manager, Kieran Riley. Of course, 2 senior championships under his belt as a manager, one with Mullahorn, one with Ballina. So he's looking to make it 3 with Killigarry.
And he's Charlie Noonan, from ex-Cavan GAA player, in as a selector with him, and they've been moving quite well lately. They went down and played a couple of challenge matches. They played down in Ballinamore and had a good win down there, and they're playing, from all accounts, they're playing an expansive style of football.
Well, would you expect anything different from Kieran Riley?
No.
Never would. He always puts his teams out to play football. Crystal are under the management of Seamus Donohoe. Of course, he's father of Thomas Edward, who played on the McCrory team there. So this is Seamus's first dip into senior management, I think, but he has a world of experience at underage level, and of course he has a world of experience. He played county football for Cavan and a lot of senior football for Lavi.
The last game sees Den taking on Cucullins. Cucullins getting to their first ever senior championship semi-final last year under the stewardship of
Patrick Murta.
Patrick Murta is gone from Cucullins now. They do have a new manager in. I'm not sure who it is. I was talking to Adrian Tate, the veteran, the old fella there.
The old fella.
Yeah, so he must be 40 at this stage, Adrian.
Well, he's touching it. One way or another.
And Den, who's over the Den club this year, Damien?
I'm not 100% sure. They have got a new manager. Again, he's in place, but I'm not sure. And Cucullins, I can't think. I was told, but I should have been writing these down, so my apologies. That brings us on now to the Division 2 of the Breffni League, and round 1 sees Killincare, who have me over them, unfortunately for them, the poor devils, against Buttles Bridge, who have Mickey Lee over them. So it's a battle of Drumalee managers.
Drumalee managers
head to head. We'll have to be kept apart.
Killincare, obviously, we spoke about them. They won their first trophy last year at Breffni League. It was the first trophy since the early 80s at senior level, under the new stewardship of yourself.
Indeed.
And I know what you're like to train with, and I know that they'll be moving well. Butters Bridge went to a semi-final of it. Went to a relegation last year.
They were.
They had a cracking game against Swan Barn for opening round of the championship.
Brilliant.
And both teams looked very good. Just didn't go well for them after that.
No. Unfortunately, when the replay went down to Ballyconnell, they didn't go well in it at all. But Butters Bridge have a lot of good young footballers. Like we've seen them firsthand with the amalgamation of Nave Breed on the 21s, and Butters Bridge are going to be they're one for the future. They're going to be a handful for any team and for us this coming weekend. The second game sees Drumalee taking on Lara. Drumalee, of course, under the management of Francis Clark from Ballyborough, and he has a coach in with him.
Crosby.
Yeah. So we wish them the best of luck.
They're playing
Lara, I think, are the same management as last year. They haven't changed anything. Ballymacue are taking on Shercock. They have obviously Patrick Murta is over Ballymacue this year from Cucullins. Shercock, I'm not 100% sure who's over them, if Barry Riley has stayed on or not. Belturbet take on Muncher Connacht. Belturbet have a change of management. It's a lad from Fermanagh is over them, but GAO is coaching.
Yeah, that's right.
Munster Connacht, I don't know who's over them.
Right. And the last game sees Swanland Bar taking on Ballyborough. There was some changes in Swanland Bar last year. I'm not sure if the management team that finished the year are staying on this year or not, but I will find out and know for next year.
And Ballyborough have an extremely experienced management team put in place, as in they're 3 ex-county footballers. Now, I hope I'm right. It's Gerry Cherdon, I think, Adrian Lamb, and John. I think it's John Connolly. I'm not sure. There's 3 ex-county footballers over Ballyborough this year. So watch out for Ballyborough. They could be one to go well, because they have good footballers up there. Michael Argue, even young Brendan Argue that we've seen. He's a young fella, but
centre back as well is a good footballer.
Exactly, Damien Riley inside corner. Like they could be one to watch for the intermediate now if they put in the right effort all year long.
Put a run together, it's wide open, that intermediate. So
that's it.
That moves us on to the Division 3 of the Breffni League, and in round 1, Shannon Gales will be taking on McBride. Shannon Gales, are they still under the same stewardship?
No, I don't think Kieran stayed on for another year. I think he's enough on his plate with under 21s that he found it difficult. So from what he told me, he wasn't planning on staying on for another year anyway.
Right.
Knockbride, I'm not sure who's over Knockbride this year.
Drung will be taking on Cavan Gales in round 1.
Drung have Adrian Delaney is still over them this year with, I think, Shane McCabe coaching.
Very good.
And Cavan Gales, of course, well, with Kieran Donnelly, but I'd say Cormac Nelligan is probably the junior team manager. Cornafane are taking on Kildallan. If the management has stayed the same, which I think it has, it's 2 Gowna men coming up against each other.
Yeah, Harton is over Kildallan.
Fergal Harton and Joe Brady is over Cornafane. Templeport have new management. They're taking on their near neighbours, Corla.
Finton Riley
and I think Gary Donoghue's in helping them out, but Finton's manager.
Yeah, and Corla,
I haven't heard who's over them.
No. And then the last game sees Kill taking on Mountain Nugent. I don't know if that game will go ahead.
Just depending on Jerry
Pritchard,
who was secretary of the Kill Club and a wonderful stalwart to the GAA. I served with Jerry on the minor board for a number of years, and he was, to say he was a worker would be an understatement. A great GAA man, and we hope his family we offer our condolences to his family.
And just as you mentioned, Jerry as well, I suppose the team you're supposed to be playing is Butler's Bridge. Again, they had a massive loss in the club and again in the town of Cavan as well. Michael Cryan.
An absolute gentleman. Again, served as PRO, as selector, as underage coach for Butler's Bridge. Originally a Dublin man, but a huge GAA follower, and he put in any amount of hours with the Butler's Bridge club, so he'll be sorely missed. But a hell of a colleague, such a gentleman you'll just never come across again. He's a big heart to match the big man that he was. But his the Fines family, he was married to one of the Fines of Butler's Bridge, and they were out to help with Jacinta and all the family there. But it's a sad time.
Yeah, it is indeed.
So that brings us on now. This coming weekend on Sunday, the Drumalee Club they're launching their juvenile, I suppose their juvenile year.
Yeah,
it's a registration day. Sorry,
we have a picture that we'll just bring up. You can see it there. The Drumalee GFC, a safe and fun environment where your children can make friends and enjoy learning the skills of GAA. I don't know if that picture is up on your screen properly there, but you can see the pictures of some of the teams from last year, and also the Opal day that they had on the pitch, which was a fantastic day.
Yeah, which had Donny Shine and Conor McManus.
That's right.
Were down to give a hand that day. It was a huge success that day. I think there was 7 or 8 clubs involved, and it was absolutely brilliant. But if you have kids around town that aren't playing any football anywhere in the greater Cavan Town area, if they're not currently with a club, they'd be more than welcome in the registration day, which, as we say, takes place this coming Sunday, the 22nd of February. If we go to the second slide, it'll show us exactly where it's on. I believe it's in Abbey Street, but I'm not 100%.
It is indeed. It's in the Club Hall in Abbey Street there. It's the old McIntyre's
Furniture World.
And again, Cathal Buggy and all the officers there from the underage in Drummondley will be there to help out. And I'm sure they always have nice little gifts for the players that register and stuff like that. And I'm sure there'll be a couple of
county stars
there as well from different parts of the country maybe as well.
That's exactly it. There's a number of county stars that will be there in attendance on Sunday afternoon. So definitely get into Abbey Street Sunday at 2 o'clock for the registration, for the underage registration for Drummondley.
Yeah.
So St. Joe's under 21s defeated St. Eunan's of Letterkenny in the Bank of Ireland Paddy McLaren Ulster semi-final yesterday on a scoreline of 3 goals and 5 points to St. Eunan's 5 points. A wonderful victory there for St. Joe's.
Another underage success, another underage Ulster final.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about it is, it's not only happening with the lads, it's happening with the women as well. We saw that the Cavan minors, under 16s, under 14s, all won 8 titles in Ulster last year. Yeah. You can see
you have the Southern Gaels minors got to the Ulster final again this year. So the club again, it's absolutely phenomenal. But I tweeted this yesterday. Cavan club football is definitely rising and rising at a very fast pace. And don't you be surprised. And you heard it here first. You heard it here first. Give me this camera, Brian. Give me that camera. Zoom in if you can at all. You heard it here first.
Go to that camera. Go to that camera. Go to that camera on him.
You heard it here first. No, we'll come to it. No, okay, we're going to have to leave it. There we go. You heard it here first, okay? A Cavan club team will win a senior Ulster title within the next 5 years. You heard it here first, okay? After seeing yesterday to see Slaughtneil and their victory over. Did you get to watch the game?
I saw some of it. Yeah,
it was absolutely phenomenal. And to see Slaughtneil, they were by far the better football team. You know, they were in control. The goals, you know, and Donohoe caused all sorts of trouble, which a big target man with the right type of ball going into him will always cause it. But you have to take hats off. But Cavan Gaels, to me, were a better team.
Oh, God.
They were a better team than Slaughtneil.
We came away from that game in Derry
sick.
Just going, how did Cavan Gaels not win that game? You know?
Yeah.
Okay, they had a bad first half. They came back strong in the second half. In the first half, they just were a little bit loose. I think they were a little bit...
Well, I think they were a little bit cautious.
Yeah.
You know, they probably could have gone out and attacked Slaughtneil and bet them. But my point being that, you know, we're good enough. Yeah. Our senior teams in this county are good enough to go on and win an Ulster title, and I think maybe a bit of belief out there, that's all it takes. But after seeing Slaughtneil come through Ulster like that, go into an All-Ireland final, and don't be betting against them in an All-Ireland final. Like Corofin are a very, very good team. I've seen them on Saturday, but I don't know. I just think it's time Cavan teams started to realise.
Slaughtneil can bring to that game of their tackling and the way they push up on a team. Corofin are going to find it very hard to beat them.
They definitely are, and they've got a brilliant manager, Mickey Moran, absolutely one of the greatest. But my point being, I think we'll relay it back to it, and we'll go to actually video clips. There's highlights from the St. Joe's semi-final against St. Eunan's, but club football in Cavan is on the rise. It is on the rise all the time, and it's great to see it. So we'll just go to this video of the highlights of the semi-final. Of course, St. Joe's playing in the Arva colours there. Oh, that's the first goal. Jonathan McCabe, it looks like, is it?
It does, yeah. It looks like Jonathan McCabe wearing the number 15. What is it?
It could be. Now, it's our screen in studio here isn't just that great that we can see close, but it's a fine St. Joe's team, and the Craigan field, absolutely beautiful. We were up there earlier on this time last year, but St. Eunan's there. So that looked like Ryan Conley. Ooh. I think Ryan Conley was number 13. It looks like, but another goal. A low enough scoring game by all accounts.
Goals win games, Damien.
They do. That's our favourite phrase. So coming up to half time was 2-1 to 2 points. Nice ball inside there.
Yeah, we were up at Cavan played Antrim in the first round of the Dr. McKenna Cup last year. Ah, lovely. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
They played Antrim in the first round of the Dr. McKenna Cup last year up on this ground. And you've got you've got the lake in behind. Absolutely. And we want to thank Jerome Quinn for the use of this video. Obviously, Jerome Quinn does a brilliant job of getting to all the underage football.
Absolutely wonderful, and great content always on his website, jeromequinnmedia.com. So thanks, Jerome, for the use of that video. Jonathan McCabe ended up man of the match. What a phenomenal year he had last year, and he seems to be starting to 2015 in the same manner. We've seen Conal Cherdon with the goal there, absolutely brilliant. But so St. Joe's will take on Wahey Graham's of Derry in the final, and that's this coming Sunday at 2 p.m. in Craig and Kickham's GAA grounds. So it's quite a journey up, but it's worth it if you can get up to see and support St. Joe's.
It's beautiful.
If it's not windy, it's beautiful.
The lake
is right.
just out the back of the pitch.
Exactly.
It's absolutely fantastic. The pitch itself is absolutely
and the club rooms and everything. Great facilities.
Lovely facilities.
But we wish St. Joe's the very best of luck, and maybe, fingers crossed, if they picked up a victory, we might have them on the show next week with a cup. It'd be great to have them in.
Yeah, the first Ulster Cup of the year, hopefully.
Exactly.
Here on our new coffee table.
Exactly, in our new studio in Cavan Crystal Hotel.
We can have the whole team in here.
Exactly. We've lots of room.
Studio audience, the whole lot.
Absolutely.
So that brings us to the end of this week's show. Remember, if you want to contact the show with your views, we'd be delighted to hear from you.
Yeah, we would indeed. You can email us on GaelicFootballViews@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views, or you can follow us on Twitter @GaelicFV. So please do follow us on Twitter. We're mad to get the Twitter numbers up.
We're not far from the 1,000 mark.
Yeah, we're very close.
We need to get that extra few and just get up to the 1,000. So
Mickey will tweet a picture of his hairy chest if we get over the 1,000.
Hang on.
No, only if we get over 1,000.
You heard it here first. Our thanks to the backroom team tonight of Brian Daly and Brian Daly for always being in your ear tonight for a change.
He was, and he was nice and quiet tonight. So until next week, it's
good night from me, and
God bless.